Welcome back to Classroom series of Modern Indian History. My friends, by now we have covered many important topics of modern Indian history. Today we are going to cover the First and Second Anglo-Mysore War. And in the previous session, we have already covered the background of Anglo-Mysore wars. We have seen who was Hyder Ali, what was the strategic importance of Mysore, how did Hyder Ali rose into prominence from a normal horseman to the Nawab of the region of the Mysore. So specifically, today we are going to understand what factors actually culminated into Anglo-Mysore War. So please pay attention carefully. Please have a pen and paper along with you so that you can note down the important facts and points. We will go gradually in a step-by-step manner for easier understanding of the concept. Okay? In the previous session, we had seen the importance of Mysore, precisely the economic importance of Mysore. Let me give you a glimpse of it. Like Mysore, it was located in Raichur Doab, which was drained by Krishna, Tungabhadra and its respective tributaries. So the entire region was quite fertile. Apart from this, the trade in sandalwood, the handicrafts, the most important one, the Kollar gold fields, and the ports of Malabar coast such as Mahe and Kannanur. All these factors made Mysore economically prosperous region. And at this point of time, English East India Company, Marathas and the Nizam of Hyderabad had an eye on Mysore. Now, first Mysore War, it's actually started from 1766 and ended in 1769. So what were the factors that led to the first Anglo-Mysore War? Let's focus upon them. Let me go back into Battle of Buxar. Battle of Buxar, it was fought in 1764. And after Battle of Buxar, specifically a treaty was signed. And that was referred as Treaty of Allahabad. The Treaty of Allahabad was signed with Shah Alam II. As per the treaty, English East India Company gave Shah Alam II 26 lakh rupees. And obviously, my friends, English East India Company is going to do nothing for free. They are expecting something in return. So English East India Company said to Shah Alam II, yes, we recognize you as the emperor. At that point of time, they were expecting the Diwani rights of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. Specifically speaking, Shah Alam II granted the Diwani rights of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha to English East India Company after the Battle of Buxar, which was fought in 1764. Now, let me go back into the Carnatic Wars. I won't be going into much depth and detail about the Carnatic Wars because already I have covered the Carnatic Wars in quite depth and detail. So, specifically, let's understand about this. During Second Anglo-Carnatic War, what happened? The region of Arcot. Okay, here specifically the region of Arcot was given to a person called as Wallaja. And Wallaja was one of the ally of English East India Company in Second Anglo-Carnatic War. Okay, please try and understand these factors. In Bengal, they have got the Diwani rights of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. In Second Anglo-Carnatic War, Wallaja was made as the Nawab of Carnatic. Simple words, Wallaja is an ally of English East India Company. Now, English East India Company wanted to connect its territories of Bengal with the territories of Madras. Okay, they wanted to connect the regions from Fort William to Fort St. George. Okay, but what was the major problem here? The major problem was the region of northern Sarkars. Why? Because Northern Sarkar was not under Nawab of Arcot. Northern Sarkar, it was under Nizam of Hyderabad, Salabat Jung. And Salabat Jung had given this region to French East India Company. Why he had given this region to French East India Company? Because during Second Anglo-Carnatic War, French East India Company had helped out Salabat Jung. And in return for this help, he had given the region of Northern Sarkars. To whom? Salabat Jung. So the major bone of contention here was Northern Sarkar. So to connect the region of Fort William and Fort St. George, it was necessary to acquire the region of Northern Sarkar. So now what happened? Specifically speaking, at this particular point of time, it is said that what is the importance of Northern Sarkar? Northern Sarkars had these 5 important territories within it. Chikakol, also referred as Srikakulam, Rajmundri, Ellore, Kondapalli and Guntur. Okay, and these 5 territories were quite economically prosperous. So it was necessary to acquire these territories. So in 1753, it was given by Salabat Jung to French East India Company. But in 1758, English East India Company ousted the French East India Company from Northern Sarkar. And again, Northern Sarkar was in the hands of Salabat Jung. Okay? Please do not get confused. I will repeat the points again. Bengal was under English East India Company after Battle of Buxar. During Second Anglo-Carnatic War, the Nawab of Arcot, whose name was Wallaja, was being helped by English East India Company. So he became an ally of English East India Company in South India. Now English East India Company had an aspiration to cover the entire region from Fort William to Fort St. George. They want to connect all their territories from Bengal to Madras. But the major problem was Northern Sarkars. And Northern Sarkar was under whom? French East India Company. Who had given Northern Sarkar to French East India Company? Salabat Jung, who was Nizam of Hyderabad. Why did he give Northern Sarkar to him? Because the French East India Company had helped Salabat Jung during the Anglo-Carnatic Wars. Okay? In 1758, Northern Sarkar region was being attacked by whom? English East India Company. And the French were ousted from that region. Now again, the entire region of Northern Sarkar, it came under Nizam of Hyderabad, Salabat Jung. Is it clear now? Let's move further. Now, specifically speaking, after Salabat Jung, Nizam Ali Khan, also referred as Asaf Jah II, he became the next Nizam of Hyderabad in 1762. And Robert Clive, specifically representing the English East India Company, he approached whom? Asaf Jah, and said him, give us the region of Northern Sarkar on rent. We don't want this region free of cost. We would be providing a certain amount of rent. But at this time, Asaf Jah completely denied Robert Clive's offer. And the reason why? Because he had allied with whom? His enemy, Nawab of Arcot. So Asaf Jah, he said, I won't be giving you the region of Northern Sarkar on rent. Now Robert Clive, again an intelligent personality. What happened? He approached the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. If you remember, after the death of Aurangzeb, there were many successor states, also referred as autonomous state. One such state was Nizam of Hyderabad. So the territories of Nizam of Hyderabad, still on paper, they fell under Mughal territories, although they were ruling in autonomous manner. But still the territories were the part of Mughals. Okay, so Robert Clive, he approached Shah Alam II. And Shah Alam II ordered a decree. He ordered Asaf Jah that give the region of Northern Sarkar to English East India Company. So by a decree, English East India Company got the region of Northern Sarkar. Now initially this person Asaf Jah, also referred as Nizam Ali Khan, he tried to wage a war, but he knew his condition, that at this particular point of time he was financially unstable and he did not had major support from his other allies. So he dropped the idea of a war. So finally Asaf Jah said to English East India Company, at least provide us a rent. So at that time what happened? Specifically, English East India Company said, yes, don't worry, we will pay you the rent and we will pay you 7 lakh rupees rent. Plus, if any other invader attacks you, we will be providing you military aid and support. So now one alliance was created, English East India Company and Nizam. Okay. Marathas also joined the alliance. Specifically, why did Maratha join the alliance of Nizam? Okay. Specifically, there was a reason behind that, and I have told you that reason. At that time, all the three were having an eye over Mysore. And from now, this will culminate into First Anglo-Mysore War. Is it clear? Okay. Now, Nizam on one side, Marathas, English East India Company on one side, this alliance, and on the other side, Mysore. And all the three were having an eye over the region of Mysore. But Maratha Peshwa Madhav Rao thought that in case if the Nizam of Hyderabad, okay, Asaf Jah, he attacks the region of Mysore without our permission, so I would get nothing in return. So what happened? At this particular point of time, specifically, Marathas in 1766 directly attacked the region of Mysore. Hyder Ali, I've talked about his personality previously. Although Hyder Ali was not that literate, although Hyder Ali was not that educated, but still he was an able administrator. He was a diplomat and he knew his diplomatic skills. He was expert in that. So at this time, what happened? He convinced the Marathas, you continuously keep on raiding our territories. What do you get in return? Okay, so why don't you form an alliance with me? At that time, I will give you 30 lakh rupees. Hyder Ali told this to Peshwa Madhav Rao. I will give you 30 lakh rupees. Apart from this, I will cede certain territories of northern Mysore to you. Madhav Rao, who was representing the Marathas, accepted this offer. So at this time, Marathas out of the league. Understand his diplomatic skill. Now comes the turn of Nizam. Okay. Hyder Ali approached Asaf Jah and said, specifically, you are allying with English East India Company. English East India Company is a very good friend of Nawab of Arcot, who is your enemy. And any time English East India Company can betray you. So, Arcot is my enemy as well. Simple words, Arcot is enemy of Mysore. Arcot is enemy of Nizam of Hyderabad. So why don't we form a common alliance against a common enemy? Nizam of Hyderabad accepted this. So even Nizam of Hyderabad was out of the league. Only English East India Company was left. And now English East India Company realized that it is better to retreat. Now they started retreating towards the region of Madras. And Hyder Ali chased them till the region of Madras. At one particular point of time, specifically speaking, Hyder Ali, he was on the verge of destroying the Fort St. George or capturing the entire region of Fort St. George. Simple words, Madras. But finally, English East India Company was ready for a peace treaty. And this treaty was Treaty of Madras, which was signed in 1769. As per the treaty, both of them will return back the conquered territories. Both of them will exchange the prisoners of war. And the most important one, English East India Company had promised Mysore. They had promised Hyder Ali that if any other foreign invader, or for that sake, if any invader attacks you, we will provide you the military support. So my friends, this in a simple word is nothing but First Anglo-Mysore War. Hope you understood things, because I have tried to explain things in a gradual step-by-step manner for easier understanding of the concept. Did you understand the First Anglo-Mysore War? Okay. So specifically speaking, First Anglo-Mysore War was actually in favor of Hyder Ali. Now let's move to Second Anglo-Mysore War. Now the alliance specifically has changed here. And how the alliance has changed, let's understand. Now First Anglo-Mysore War, it ended in 1769 with the Treaty of Madras. And specifically, Second Anglo-Mysore War, it will initiate in 1780. So what happened within this span of 11 years? Okay. In 1771, again Marathas attacked the region of Mysore. Try and understand the political dynamics at this time, so that you can easily understand the Second Anglo-Mysore War. The First Anglo-Mysore War ended in 1769. Second Anglo-Mysore War culminated in 1780. It started in 1780. So what happened within this span of 11 years? In 1771, Marathas again attacked the region of Mysore. Okay, like specifically speaking, like I have told you previously, Peshwa Madhav Rao was given 30 lakh rupees. He was given certain parts or certain territories of northern Mysore. But again in 1771, Marathas had attacked the region of Mysore. And what did the Treaty of Madras say? What had English East India Company promised to Mysore? If any other power attacks you, we would be providing you military aid and support. So Hyder Ali approached English East India Company that as per Treaty of Madras, you had promised us that you will provide us military support in case of any attack by any other power. Now help us. At this particular point of time, English East India Company denied. Now Marathas had attacked this region. Marathas had raided this region. Finally, it is said that 36 lakh rupees was paid to the Marathas by Hyder Ali to buy peace. Okay. Now, why did English East India Company did not help Hyder Ali, although they had promised as a part of which treaty? Treaty of Madras in 1769. There was a reason. And in fact, what happened? In fact, around 1778, 1779, English East India Company had attacked the region of Mahe on Malabar coast. Okay. Now, why English East India Company had attacked the region of Mahe? There was a reason behind this. Mahe, it was a port of Hyder Ali, Mysore. And this port have been given to French East India Company by Hyder Ali. Why? Because French East India Company and the French experts had helped Hyder Ali to develop arsenal in Dindigul. If you remember. So, this person Hyder Ali knew that the weapons, the arms and ammunitions of the French East India Company are quite good. So, he has given the region of Mahe, Hyder Ali, to French East India Company for development of arms and ammunition, for import of arms and ammunition and so on. Okay. At this time, precisely speaking, when this region was being given to French East India Company, what happened? Specifically, American War of Independence was going on. Like you might have heard about one important fact, that the eastern coast of America, there were 13 British colonies. And American War of Independence was going. and French were supporting the natives of America against Britain. So Britain was very angry with France because France had formed an alliance on 6th February 1778 with the natives of America against the British. So Britain was very angry with France now. Hence, English East India Company attacked the region of Mahe, which was held by French East India Company. Getting the points clear? Hence, they did not support whom? Specifically, the Mysore ruler Hyder Ali against Marathas. Now, Hyder Ali understood one thing. Full-fledged war is going to take place. And at this particular point of time, I need to form an alliance against English East India Company. So Mysore, they formed an alliance against Mysore, was against English East India Company. Nawab of Arcot, Wallaja, obviously he's going to support English East India Company. So both of them formed alliance. Now why Marathas were ready to help out Mysore? In fact, Marathas had raided the Mysore twice. 1766, 1771. First time they got 30 lakh, second time they got 36 lakh. But now why Marathas are forming alliance with Mysore? There is a reason. In 1775, Anglo-Maratha war has initiated and English East India Company is against the Marathas now. Hence, they formed an alliance against Mysore. And why Nizam of Hyderabad formed an alliance with Mysore against English East India Company? Because specifically speaking, Nizam of Hyderabad's major enemy was Nawab of Arcot, Wallaja. And Wallaja had formed an alliance with English East India Company. So Nizam formed an alliance with Mysore. Did you understand the entire diplomacy? Let's move ahead. Understand this entire thing. Region of Arcot. Now the alliance of three, that is Nizam of Hyderabad, Asaf Jah, the Marathas and Hyder Ali, they decided that they are going to encircle Arcot. That is Wallaja. Now what happened? Like they besieged the region of Arcot and the Arcot was encircled from all the sides. From this side and this side by the Mysore army. One unit was led by Hyder Ali and other unit was led by Tipu, who becomes later on, he becomes the Sultan. So the other side was led by Tipu. This side was encircled by the Maratha army and this side was encircled by the Nizam's army. Okay. Now, English East India Company comes to know about this. So English East India Company forms first contingent under Hector Munro at Fort St. George in Madras. English East India Company forms second contingent at Guntur under Colonel Bailey. Okay, at Guntur under Colonel Bailey. So English East India Company formed the first contingent at Fort St. George in Madras under Hector Munro. Second contingent at Guntur under Colonel Bailey. And Colonel Bailey and Hector Munro had a plan that both of them will move, okay, from their respective places and both of the contingent will join at a place called as Kanjivaram. Hyder Ali comes to know about this, that both of the contingent are arriving and both the contingent will meet at Kanjivaram. So before they meet, why don't we stop them? Immediately Hyder Ali dispatches his son Tipu Sultan. And Tipu Sultan, he reaches a place called as Polilur and he stops the army of Colonel Bailey. He stops the contingent of Colonel Bailey and Colonel Bailey was defeated and he had to retreat back. This is called as First Battle of Polilur. Clear? Meanwhile, Hyder Ali himself, he had attacked the region of, now they were moving towards, Hector Munro was moving towards Kanjivaram. Hyder Ali himself moved towards this place. He sent his son to Polilur. Colonel Bailey retreated. Got it? Now, Hyder Ali is moving in this direction. Hector Munro is moving in this direction. Hector Munro is also defeated and he was also retreated. In fact, Hyder Ali now had the chance to attack the region of Madras again and acquire it. But Hyder Ali thought that it's better. Why don't I go back to the region of Arcot and encircle the fort of Arcot? So he chose the second option, that I will besiege the region of Arcot. Okay. Meanwhile, English East India Company from the region of Fort William, what did they do? English East India Company from the region of Fort William, they attacked the region of Malabar coast. And English East India Company, when they attacked the region of Malabar coast, again Hyder Ali told Tipu Sultan, go and recover the ports of Mahe and Kannanur from them. Tipu Sultan, he moved towards the region of Malabar coast. At that time, this was a diplomatic game that was being played by whom? At that time, the Calcutta Council. What did they do? At this time, another contingent was formed at Fort William under Eyre Coote. I repeat, another contingent was formed under Eyre Coote at Fort William. And this contingent was dispatched to Madras, and from Madras, they will attack this region. It is said that many battles were fought. Among them, 2 to 3 were the most important ones. One was Battle of Porto-Novo. Other was Battle of Polilur again. Then was Battle of Sholingur. And all the 3 successive battles, the forces of Mysore Sultanate had to face reverses. Finally, after some time, it is said that Hyder Ali died due to cancer. And he was being succeeded as a ruler of Mysore by Tipu Sultan. And finally, in 1784, a treaty was signed, which is called as Treaty of Mangalore, as per which English East India Company and Mysore Sultanate decided to give back the conquered territories. This was, in short, about the first and the second Anglo-Mysore wars. Hope the point is clear, my friends. Okay? StudyIQ IAS English has come up with Target Year 2027 Resolution P2I Foundation Batch, Prelims 2 Interview. The batches are available in English, Hindi and English language, which will cater to the needs of the aspirant precisely from southern part of India and northeastern India. The batches are also available for 2026 and 2028. One more very important information. Very soon, the batches are going to commence for SIP, that is Success in Prelims Examination. And the batches would be starting approximately around 10th of November. Okay? So, my friends, for Target Year 2027, the price is affordable. That is 20,999. Use the code ALOKLIVE that is flashing on your screen to get the maximum benefits of the batches. I repeat the code ALOKLIVE. Apart from this, if anyone has any kind of a doubt, any kind of a question or a query, you can fill the form which is given in the description. Apart from that, you can also contact the number that is flashing on your screen. My friends, hope you understood the first and the second Anglo-Mysore War. In the coming sessions, I would be coming up with the third and fourth Anglo-Mysore War. Okay? With this, I'll stop my words for the day, guys. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.